Welcome to Soleil. I call it Camp Soleil because it's really like a glorified camp. And you are just now entering onto my porch, which is basically my main and most favorite living area. This is my dining room right here. We have so many, used to have before the COVID pandemic, we used to have lots of fun dinner parties because this can seat up to 10 people. This bench over here used to be in front of the table, but I've since moved it over here so that it is our cleaning station. So now, you know, when we get packages, we wipe them down with, I have a bleach solution, we've got gloves, I even have a UV light. But this is where we put all of our packages, we wipe them down before we bring them inside. And then the other favorite part of this porch is the living room area, where I can't tell you how many fun nights we've had, especially at sunset, watching all of the fireflies out in the yard. And I don't know if you noticed the little hanging mirrors around the dining room, but they do attract fireflies. They'll come right up to the mirror, and then they'll even, or right up to the screen, and then I've even had one come inside the house. So it's so much fun here in front of the fireplace to have a fire and get together with friends. And then of course, this leads out onto a big deck that overlooks a ravine on this side of the house. And then we're about 35 feet above Alexander Creek. So it's really like a small peninsula in that there's a ravine on this side, and then on the side where you came in, there's another ravine, and they both run into a sandy bottom creek called Alexander Creek, which runs into the Mississippi River. So now we're going to go into the inside of the house, where you enter into the kitchen. It's been really rainy here, so the windows are fogged up. It's very humid in Louisiana, so the windows in the mornings often are fogged up, especially since I have the air conditioning at night on about 68. But not during the day. During the day, it's about 74. I have all the lights on too, because I also wanted to show you, these are all LED lights, even the candelabras that are inside these sconces, and they're the warm white lights. That's the more, you know, incandescent lights. The color is very yellow, which I like. So that's the warm lights, not daylight or what's the other one? Soft white. And then here, another fireplace area where it's in the winter. It's also very fun for friends to sit around the fire. I even raised this coffee table so that sometimes we can actually eat in front of the fire. And this fireplace, well, the house was designed by me. It's the first house I've ever designed, and I've designed a couple of other ones based on the same floor plan. I had just moved from New York City to St. Francisville, and I didn't realize I'd be living here the whole time, so I thought I would make the house as small as I could so I would always be able to keep it. So the original house is only 1,160 square feet, and although I'd never designed a house before, I first started out with a floor plan like you do in interior design, and then I went from there, and I knew I wanted to have these very tall ceilings. My ceiling peak is 20 feet. And if you'll notice, there's no beams. I didn't want any beams. I wanted it to be like a teepee. I had heard a talk by Native American Indian Sun Bear, who said the reason they live in teepees is because it helps your spirit soar. So I took that to heart, and that's why I have 20-foot ceilings. And rather than try to do skylights, which are very problematic, I had windows put at the top in the peaks right here, and then I'll take you up to the loft later, and there's windows up there as well. And then I also helped design the fireplace with the help of Vern Potan, who designed many fireplaces for Hayes Town, and decided to put this extra mantle on the top because it was so massive and so tall. And I used to have tea light candles up there, but it's just way too problematic trying to get them lit and all of that. But anyway, my fireplace has now become sort of like an altar, in that painting, I traded my services with Hunt Sloanham. It's a Hunt Sloanham painting, and it's his painting of the Archangel Sandalphon. And then you'll see these are candles of my parents, my mother, my father, my friend Brent, who was my best friend in New York, my dear friend Isabel Winsberg, who was my very first client, and then we were wonderful friends after that, and then my dear friend Paul, who are no longer with us, so I'm honoring all of them by having these candles made. There's a company in New Orleans called Mary Mose and Me. Their website is marymoseandme.com, and they, you can send them photos, and they make these candles for you, which I love anyway. And then, although my office originally was planned to be upstairs, and it still is upstairs, I really love to spend time down here, and thanks to, you know, wireless internet and a laptop, I use this as my desk most often because it has a beautiful view. The windows are a little clogged, but it has a beautiful view overlooking this ravine. By the way, this is a wonderful lamp that Mark Charbonnet has made that he sells out of Hermes hat boxes. He's a dear friend of mine, and he was one of my first clients. He's a very talented decorator in New York. He also is an art dealer and deals mostly in Hunt Sloanham paintings. So he's been incredibly generous to me and has given me this wonderful Hunt Sloanham landscape. And then, of course, the little bunny. And then the painting of the black and white painting above it is called The Guardians, and those are monkey eyes. That's another Hunt Sloanham painting. This is another favorite of mine that a client gave me that she painted. Her name is Hazel Guggenheim. She's Peggy Guggenheim's sister. A portrait of my daughter that my dear friend Marion Drennan painted and gave to me. And then that's a George Deroe angel over there. I love art, and so... Oh, and Kay Davis, who you'll see a bathroom, she made the angel and gave that to me, and then my daughter painted the sun and the star for me as a gift. So now I'm going to take you into what was the master bedroom of the house. Like I said, the house was only 1,160 square feet. I wanted to keep my square footage down so I could keep the cost down, because I built the entire house, including the land, for $75,000 30 years ago. So anyway, this was the master bedroom. It was the exact size of my bedroom in my apartment in New York, which is only 10 by 11. But I knew I could, you know, feel comfortable in a bedroom that was small as long as I had a big open area to entertain. So I put as many windows as I could, and then also French doors, which lead out onto the deck and also out to an outdoor shower. So it really works well. This whole end wall is all closets. There's a television even, and some bookcases not bookcases, but cabinetry in here. And oh, by the way, Wendy Rodrigue gave me the poster of the blue dog, which I immediately hung in here. And here is another good example of, this is my color Magnolia. And so this is a good example of taking a small space with lots of windows and painting everything the same color so that it just, the backdrop of the walls and the door trim and window trim just fade away and it doesn't look so choppy. And then this is one of two bathrooms. I got this tub from my good friend Ellen Kennon. It was at Asphodel Plantation, and she sold it to me for $200. I love it. And then I had Sally Conklin, who is a talented artist, come in, and all I told her was, I want to feel like I'm outdoors in a Monet painting. And so I said, just do whatever, you know, you feel like that evokes in you. So she started at 10 in the morning. She finished at 4 in that same afternoon. And I absolutely love it. The original wall color was this kind of, well, it was my color, light terracotta. By the way, this is ashen green. And so she used these Liquitex paints, and she just painted this. I love it. Anyway, I'll never, of course, change it. It's wonderful and did exactly what I was hoping it would do. This is my laundry room. I even put this light on a dimmer. But, you know, it's small, but it works. And now I'm going to take you, by the way, I didn't mention the paint colors in here. Here is the prime example of what I often tell clients is when you have an angled ceiling, paint the walls and ceiling the same color because it looks too geometric and choppy if you don't. The wall color is buttercream. It's the first color I ever created. And the trim color is ashen green, the second color I ever created. And you know, it's great because the green pulls your eye out into the view as opposed to a white or off-white molding, which closes you back in. Love the sconces. I don't know if you noticed, I have several of them all around the room, on the fireplace, and then also on the bookshelves. And I have another one upstairs. I bought the first two from Dutroux Rosé in Paris, and then I had the rest of them copied. I just like them so much because the swing arm slides up and down on the little mount, so they're very functional. And then this hallway leads into two tiny little rooms. First is my shower bath or Euro bath, which the whole room is only 6 by 6, and the whole room is a shower. I mean, there's the toilet here, sink here, shower head. Kay Davis, who gave me the angel in the living room, was the artist who created all of the tiles, and she surprised me by taking her prototype, what do you call it? Not her prototype, but the mold that she used to make the sun, and then she made his eyes sleepier, and then of course took off the rays and everything, and ended up surprising me with the moon up there. And then she also did little frogs down here, and I don't know if you can see, but there's a little cherub. And we did little recesses, you know, for your shampoo, and then a recess for your toilet paper. I've since done several rooms like this for other people where we, you know, tile the whole room, and you can do it with slate and different things. So in here, this room is only 7 by 10 feet. It's 10 feet across and then only 7 feet long. And this was the end of the house. I don't know if you can see, there was a window there. The window's still there. I just put mirror in it because, as you'll see in a few minutes, I added onto the house after my daughter got a little older and needed her own big bedroom. And then, oh, by the way, these little beds each have their own air conditioning vents in the ceiling, their own little, you know, lights, their own, there's an outlet at the end of each one. And currently I have some of my daughter's, we saved her nicest toys and the ones that we thought she might want to keep and put those in there. And who knows, maybe someday I'll have grandkids that will love to come and stay in those little beds. This was the end of the house, and there was a closet right here. So we added on, and this, when it was my daughter's, you know, was just floor to ceiling shelves because she had so many toys. And then I've turned it into like a little vanity, and I have all my, you know, things that make me feel good about myself. Like when I ran in the 5K Crescent City Classic in New Orleans, that was a long time ago. And then this big bedroom, I figured as long as I was adding on a room, I might as well make it as big as possible. So this room is 12 by 25 feet. I wanted to make it a little more interesting, so I found some stained glass windows, put that at the end because you drive up to the back of my house. And then as many windows as possible. So we've got, you know, windows overlooking here, windows and a deck right here. Again, I'm sorry it's so cloudy you can't see out of the windows. But this room is so spacious, I have to say I absolutely love it. And now that it's mine, now that my daughter, you know, lives on her own and is grown. She lives in New Orleans. But she's been staying with me during the pandemic, and it's been fantastic. Now we'll go upstairs. Oh, this is another Hunt Sloanham painting that Mark Charbonnet gave me for Christmas one year. And these, by the way, are all from magazines, and that's the Wall Street Journal that I've been in. And they were in my office, but when I moved my office home, and then there were shelves here. So basically I just hung these because they're hiding walls that have been kind of messed up from taking shelves down. And it makes me feel better about myself. What can I say? All right, let's go upstairs. And I'll take you to the last little, this is just a little closet, you know, for, you know, brooms and mops and things like that. A stereo closet that also has vases. And then this staircase leads up to my office. That I rarely use as, well, I come up here because it's got all my fabric samples. You know, it's kind of nice to sit in a little chair and go through fabric samples when I'm working on a project. And of course I've got my printer, you know, everything I need to mail stuff with. That's a pretty nice size walk-in closet. I'm not even gonna show it to you because I threw some stuff in there, but that houses a lot of just supplies and packaging supplies and things like that. Catalogs. Oh, I forgot to show you. 2 more Dutch beds. When I first designed this, I just moved from New York and I knew I'd have a lot of company come from out of town. And so I wanted to make sure I had plenty of space for all of my friends to come and stay. And again, nice views. I'm in the middle of the woods. We took out 39 pine trees where the house was. And that was 30 years ago, and I wouldn't live anywhere else. I mean, I just absolutely love it here. So thank you so much. And I want to thank Dom and Alex for putting together the video for me because I couldn't do this without y'all. Bye, everybody.